Good morning, class 11. So let's continue with our poem, John Brown. Clear? On Saturday, I just explained half of the poem, where we came to know that John Brown was selected in an army. He was going to fight a war. His mother was very proud of him. She's posting it to her neighbors. She's showing them the photograph of her son, and whenever she got a letter, yeah, she showed it to her neighbors. Now, let's see from here. Then the letters ceased to come. For a long time they did not come. They ceased to come for about 10 months or more. Then a letter finally came saying, "Go down and meet the train. Your son is coming home from the war." Then what happened? Then after some time earlier, John Brown's mother was continuously receiving the letter. Then all of a sudden the letter stopped to come. For a long time, John's mother did not receive any letter. They ceased to come from about 10 months or more, at least for 10 months or more than that. She did not receive a single letter from her son. Then a letter finally came saying, "Go down and meet the train." Then finally, after 10 months, a letter came in which it is written, "Go down and meet the train. Your son is coming home from the war. Go to the station to receive your son. Your son is coming back from the war." That is what the letter reads. She smiled and went right down. She looked everywhere around. So when she received that letter, she smiled. She was happy that finally his son was coming back. She went right down. She went to the station. She looked everywhere around, but she couldn't see her soldier son inside. She looked everywhere. She couldn't find her son. She couldn't locate her son. But as all the people passed, she saw her son at last. When she did, she could hardly believe her eyes. But when all the people left, clear, when all the people passed, they left, she finally saw her son. And see, when she did, she could hardly believe her eyes. When she saw her son, she couldn't believe her eyes that he was her son. The condition that she saw of her son, she couldn't believe it. Now, what was the condition of her son that she couldn't recognize? Oh, his face was all shot up and his hand was all blown off. His face was completely shot up by the bullets. Clear, his hand was blown off, and he wore a metal brace around his waist, and he was wearing a metal belt around his waist to support him. Without the support of the metal belt, he could not stand up. He whispered kind of slow in a voice she did not know. While she couldn't even recognize his face. She couldn't recognize his face. Clear? He whispered kind of slow in a voice she didn't recognize. Clear? Then what happened? Uh, he slowly whispered to his mother, in which she did not know, but his mother didn't recognize his voice. While she couldn't recognize his face, neither she recognized his voice nor she recognized his face. Oh Lord, not even recognized his face. Again, here the poet is satiric. The tone of the poet is satiric. Oh Lord, not even recognizing his face. Now, children, we can see the dark, brooding image of John Brown. Clear? The dark, shattered image of John Brown, it reflects the fatal consequences of war. It tells us that how war destroy the life of the people. Clear? John Brown, who once stood straight, tall, handsome, now wore a metal brace around his waist to support himself. He was unable to stand up. Clear? In the beginning, in the army uniform, he was looking very smart. He was tall, standing straight. Now he couldn't stand straight without a support. His face was all shot up. His hand was blown off. So this shows us about the fatal consequences of the war. How fatal the war is. Fine. So he was so disfigured that his mother, neither she could recognize her son's voice nor she could recognize his face. Fine. Oh, tell me, my darling son, pray tell me what they done. How is it you come to be this way? He tried to best to talk, but his mouth could hardly move, and the mother had to turn her face away. Now, when mother saw the condition, when John Brown's mother saw the deplorable condition of her son, clear, She asked him, "Oh, tell me, my darling son, pray tell me what they had done. How is it you come to be this way?" She asked him the reason for his terrible condition. She asked him, "Tell me, my son, what they have done to you. How is it you come to be in this way? How your condition has become like this?" He tried his best to talk, but his mouth could hardly move. John Brown tried his best to open his mouth to answer, but could hardly move his mouth, and the mother had to turn her face away. The mother could not bear such disheartening sight. Clear? She couldn't see such condition of her son, so she turned her face away. "Don't you remember, Ma, when I went off to war? You thought it was the best thing I could do. I was on the battleground. You were home acting proud. You wasn't there standing in my shoes." Now John Brown sarcastically, clear, questioning to his mother's idea of war. He said, "Don't you remember, Ma, when I went off to war?" Snega, "Mother, if you remember, that when I was going for a war, you thought it was the best thing I could do." He asked his mother, "Mother, do you remember that when I was going for a war, you considered the war as the best thing for me?" Clear? You considered that it is the best thing for me to be the part of that war. You glorified it. You find it is a thing of glory to be the part of war. "I was on the battleground. You were home acting proud." Clear? He exclaimed angrily. He said that while I was fighting on the battleground, clear, you were home acting proud. Then you can, at that time when I was fighting on the battleground, you were there at home. You could only feel proud of me without, you wasn't there standing in my shoes, without realizing the horrors of the war. You are feeling proud. Clear? And you cannot imagine the horrors and the pain I was going through on the battlefield. Clear? You were not there standing in my shoes. You could not emphasize with me. You cannot think about my situation while I was fighting there on the war. You were feeling proud here. You were at home and feeling proud on the idea of, without realizing the horrors of the war. Clear? So children, revise it till here. We'll finish it tomorrow. Thank you.